Guys, I'm just gonna give it another few minutes. I know Matt's logging in right now, and Ginger's gonna be a few moments late, but she's gonna join us. Hey, Mike. Good evening, Matt. Can you guys hear me okay?
Hey, Trey. I hear you.
Well, we've got a quorum. Are you guys comfortable proceeding? Or we can wait a few moments. Ginger, I don't know when she'll be on, but she told me that she'd be on in about 5 or 10 minutes or so. She's headed to her house. And unless there's any objections, then I'll go ahead and get the meeting started. Does anybody got an issue if we go ahead and proceed with the roll call? Okay.
Proceed.
All right. If you guys don't mind, then I'll go ahead and I'll open us up in a quick word. We'll just please bow your head. Heavenly gracious Father, we are thankful for everything that you've given to us. We appreciate and are grateful for the ability to connect and to to conduct official city business, and I would ask that your hand be upon this process tonight, that you help us make right decisions, and that you continue to bless this community. And for that, we're grateful and living. In Jesus' name, amen.
Yeah.
It's good timing. All right. And there's Ginger right there. Jerry Beth, can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're doing good. And thank you for being here tonight, guys. Jerry Beth soldiering through it, and I appreciate her. So if you would, please call the roll.
Okay, Mayor,
Here.
Mr. Philip Howell, Mrs. Stewart,
Here.
Mr. Cordell,
Here.
Mrs. Bridges,
Here.
Mrs. Elmore,
Here.
Mr. Bowles, Mr. Bowles.
I think he's still in the queue. I think he might have froze up, Jerry Beth.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm here if you can hear me. I'm sorry.
There you go.
that's okay. Mr. Jones. Okay. Mr. Hatton. I think I seen him. Is Raymond on?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. All right, Mr. Florence,
Here.
Mr. Butler, Mr. Butler. Okay. All right, Mayor, we have a quorum.
All right, thanks, Jerry Beth. First thing I want to do tonight is just introduce you guys to Jeremy Gosden. Jeremy started on Tuesday with the city. He's going to be our new community development director. And so we wish him well and have pretty high expectations for him. Jeremy is an architect by trade. So he brings with him an immense amount of knowledge about code and zones. And a lot of his past life is really going to pay off here if he sticks with us. And thankful to have him here tonight. So if you guys get an opportunity, feel free to stop by and say hello to Jeremy sometime. All right, we've got 3 properties on the list tonight for resolutions. 221 Vassar, 219 Harrison, and 315 McKinley. I know Vonda is going to lead us through this presentation. She and Ginger have done a lot of work on these properties in the past 3 months, and a little more than 3 months actually, because we had to delay the last condemnation meeting until today. We'll talk about the budget status, the status of liens on the prior properties, and then adjourn unless there's any other business. So Vonda, I'm going to move on and let you take it away, okay?
Okay. The first property we're going to look at tonight is 221 Vassar Lane. Vassar Lane is it's under Vernon L. Cummings. Mr. and Miss Cummings both are deceased. And there has been no probate proceedings filed in Lonoke County, which has led us to not be able to effectively contact any members, family members, or anything, heirs. The property has gone delinquent to the state. We've got 16, 17, 18, and 19 taxes are currently due. The structure is in complete disrepair. It's fallen in completely. There has been very little, well, actually nothing done to the property in years. We've got our title search showing there's no liens or judgments on the property. It is, other than it is delinquent at the state. So the state currently holds certification on the property. And as you see, it's a very dangerous and in complete disrepair. All the paperwork's been done on it. Notifications have been made. I've even talked to the state and made notification to them of the condemnation process that's taken place. This is really one that needs to come down. We've made four. Four that I know of since I've been doing this. The first notice, come back, fell on deaf ears, and then made two notices, just regular notices, and then certified notification. Once we canceled, another certified notification was turned over. So it's one that it'd be an easy one. Can't guarantee that we would get any return back on it anytime soon. It is scheduled to go up for auction close to the end of 2021. So it will go up to state auction probably in the next year.
Rhonda's done a great job of explaining it all. The only thing I would add to that is back when Mr. Cummings first passed away, we reached out to some of the Cummings family. Charlie Cummings, I believe, is a nephew, and there's a man named Billy Brummett who's actually on the zoning commission in Pine Bluff, who's a nephew as well. But they both have decided that this is not something they're willing to take on and don't claim any interest in it. And they expect it to be certified to the state. So again, I think we're where we need to be notice on this, but we will not be paid back on this because it'll be certified to the state, sold by the state, hopefully, and that will wipe out our lien on it. But it will get it cleaned up. So I think it's important to move forward on it, but just don't expect to get paid back on this.
Okay. All right, I'll take a motion to put resolution 12/1/2020 on the floor.
Motion so moved.
Second, Michael.
Motion's made by Raymond Hatton and seconded by Michael Florence. Sorry, Ginger, you're muted. Sorry.
Okay, are we ready for the next one?
No, hang on. I was going to let her.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Do I need to read the resolution and then vote on it?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Resolution 12-1-2020, a resolution declaring the property within the city of Lonoke, Arkansas, located at 221 Vassar Lane, Lonoke, Arkansas, to be a nuisance and condemning same pursuant to Lonoke City Ordinance number 575. Whereas Arkansas Code Annotated Section 14-56-203 provides that cities of the first class shall have the power to order the removal or raising of, or to remove or raise any buildings or houses that, in the opinion of the council, have become dilapidated, unsightly, unsafe, unsanitary, obnoxious, or detrimental to the public welfare. And whereas Arkansas Code Annotated 14-56-203 furthermore provides that said cities of the first class shall provide by ordinance the manner of removing and making the above referenced removals. And whereas on or about March 10th, 2008, the City Council for the City of Lonoke, Arkansas, the city, enacted and passed ordinance number 575, the effect of which was to provide for the condemnation and removal of houses, buildings, and or structures constituting a nuisance within the corporate limits, providing for lien thereon, and providing a penalty therefor. Whereas pursuant to the requirements contained in Lonoke City Ordinance number 575, the Lonoke City Council wishes and desires to pass a resolution declaring certain houses, buildings, and or structures to be a nuisance to the city of Lonoke and its citizens and condemning same. And whereas the properties hereby condemned are affecting the citizens of the city of Lonoke and are in violation of said citizens' rights to lawfully use and enjoy their properties, and furthermore constitute an unreasonable and unwarrantable use of property, producing a material annoyance, inconvenience, and discomfort to all citizens of the city of Lonoke. And now therefore be it resolved that the following described property, together with any existing houses, buildings, and or structures thereon owned by the person set forth below, be and the same is hereby found and declared to be a nuisance to this by the City Council of the City of Lonoke, Arkansas, for the reasons set forth below, and the same shall be and hereby is condemned to ensure the removal thereof as provided in Lonoke City Ordinance number 585. Property address 221 Vassar Lane, Lonoke, Arkansas. Property owner Vernon L. Cummings, lien holder / mortgagee, state of Arkansas, for taxes 2016 to 2019 and 2019/07150, which was the certification. Reason for condemnation: property is vacant and has fallen into severe disrepair so as to make it unlivable. Property is dilapidated, unsightly, unsafe, unsanitary, obnoxious, or detrimental to the public welfare. See attached photographs, which are incorporated herein by reference.
Okay. I'll open the floor to a quick discussion. Are there any questions?
I have a question, Ginger. Uh, It's gonna auction off, you said, at the end of 2021. Can we not put a lien on it, that property then, and acquire that piece of property for the city?
Yes, we can put a lien on it. Not without great expense could we acquire that for the city. Because what we would, I mean, the reason we can't really practically do that is the same reason the Cummings family has not pursued a probate here. Mr. Cummings, my understanding is at the time of his death, he was not married. He did not have children. So his next heirs are uncles and or actually nephews and nieces, I believe. And there may be some of them who have passed away. And so if those people have passed away, we would have to give notice to every single one of those people, and it's just not practicable. In fact, when I spoke with Mr. Brummett back a year or more ago about this, he had thought about trying to go through the small estate process to get the property transferred to him so that he could try to rehabilitate it. And my understanding is that he may have even done some things out of the property. Actually, this has been years ago. This is back when Mayor McGee was here. But it became quickly evidence to him that either he wasn't going to be able to get all the family members to cooperate with the transfer, or it just was too much work for him to do. So long story short, what we would have to do we can get our lien, but in order to get paid on your lien, you have to foreclose it, which is just like a foreclosure anywhere else. You have to give notice to any potential claim holders, which would be all of these nieces and nephews. To be honest, it's cost prohibitive. I would not suggest doing it.
Okay, thank you. I'm just wondering what's gonna happen if somebody buys that at auction. I know the house would be gone because we're gonna take care of that, but you still got a grown-up lot.
What I hope would happen is that maybe an investor would purchase it. And I mean, my understanding is there may be some homes that are decent around this. And I mean, maybe one of them will buy it just to have a bigger yard and a nice clear lot. Maybe Suzette can help us market that for somebody around there. But just, it would be, it's been a while since I've looked at it, but it seems like there's a property really nearby, like maybe in front of it. Is that correct, Fonda?
There is, yes.
Okay. Like it's a city lot that's actually been divided. And I mean, I would think the person who has the other half of that lot might be a good person to buy it at that the sales tax sale.
All right, thank you, Ginger.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Vonda, this is Ryan. Just a quick question. Do you have an estimated amount for demolition for this property?
Do actually, Randy and I are discussing this because our funds are, I want to make sure we fall in the level of funds that we have, but approximately $4,000.
Thank you.
Anything else before we take it to a vote? All right, then I'll take a motion to accept the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Suzette Elmore, seconded by Ms. Alice Bridges. Don't forget to unmute. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. On to 219 Harrison.
All right, 219 Harrison is in the name of it's in Thelma and Velma Hurd. Miss Thelma passed away in 1997. They were on this property as tenants in common. So Miss Velma is actually the only owner, Thelma Jean Hurd. She lives in North Little Rock. The only actual response that we've been able to get from Miss Hurd, we've sent her several notifications, last two being certified. But the on the second notice where we had sent her a notice on unsafe structure, up at the top it says repair or demolish, second notice. And she circled demolish and signed the bottom of the letter. They're not going to be able to do anything with it. But so there's been no interaction at all. There are no liens or mortgages on the property. And we've got some pictures of it there.
And these were taken today.
Just a couple been snapped today. We had some older ones. You'll notice there's no doors, the roof's falling in, and it's right around a lot of other houses over there. We did take one down last time close to it. It's just an unsafe structure. I know there's a lot of kids that play around there. And it is one of the structures that definitely needs to come down because of the residences that are close to it.
And to anticipate the question that may come from this one, Vonda's done a great job on this. The only thing I would change as to what she had said on it, not to go too much title nerd on here, but Selma Hurd owns a 50% interest in it, and Velma Hurd owns a 50% interest in it.
Right.
Selma Hurd received her interest back in 1962. And she's like Velma or like Vonda said, she's deceased. So if we were to foreclose this lien, then we're going to have to notify all of Thelma Hurd's heirs who passed in 1997. So again, I agree with the decision to get rid of this property, but do not expect to get paid back on this one because, again, it would be cost prohibitive to notify all of those people that we have no idea who they are. I mean, we'd have to do some serious genealogy research to figure out who they even are to give notice to them on it. Again, hopefully this one gets certified to the state for taxes, gets purchased by somebody who may care about it or an investor or something. But don't expect to get our fund replenished on this one either because of title issues.
I have a question. Is the structure that is in the picture to the right rear, is that part of the property or is that on an adjacent lot?
No, that is part of the property. It was I think like a little carport or something right there where the drive comes in.
Okay.
And it's just completely fallen down. Yes.
Okay.
Now this property has not gone to the state yet. I believe they owe 1 year currently behind. But everything's it's been posted. All notifications have been made. Title search is complete. No mortgages or liens.
I'll entertain a motion to put resolution 12/2/2020 on the floor.
Motion to put resolution 12/2/20 on the floor.
Second, Cordell.
Motion's made by Ms. Alice Bridges and seconded by Matt Cordell.
Sorry, got a little behind on there. Okay, resolution 12-2-220, a resolution declaring the property within the city of Lonoke, Arkansas, located at 219 Harrison Street, Lonoke, Arkansas, to be a nuisance and condemning same pursuant to Lonoke City Ordinance number 575. Whereas Arkansas Code Annotated Section 14-56-203 provides that cities of the first class shall have the power to order the removal or raising of, or to remove or raise any buildings or houses that, in the opinion of the council, have become dilapidated, unsightly, unsafe, unsanitary, obnoxious, or detrimental to the public welfare. And whereas Arkansas Code Annotated Section 14-56-203 furthermore provides that said cities of the first class shall provide by ordinance the manner of removing and making the above reference removals. And whereas on or about March 10th, 2008, the City Council for the City of Lonoke, Arkansas, the city enacted and passed ordinance number 575, the effect of which was to provide for the condemnation and removal of houses, buildings, and/or structures constituting a nuisance within the corporate limits, providing for lien thereon, and providing a penalty therefor. And whereas pursuant to the requirements contained in Lonoke City Ordinance number 575, the Lonoke City Council wishes and desires to pass a resolution declaring certain houses, buildings, and/or structures to be a nuisance to the City of Lonoke and its citizens and condemning same. And whereas the properties hereby condemned are affecting the citizens of the City of Lonoke and are in violation of said citizens' rights to lawfully use and enjoy their properties, and furthermore constitute an unreasonable and unwarrantable use of property producing material annoyance, inconvenience, and discomfort to all the citizens of the City of Lonoke. And now therefore be it resolved that the following described property, together with any existing houses, buildings, and or structures thereon owned by the person set forth below, be and the same is hereby found and declared to be a nuisance by the City Council of the City of Lonoke, Arkansas, for the reasons set forth below, and the same shall be and hereby is condemned to ensure the removal thereof as provided in Lonoke City Ordinance number 585. Property address 219 Harrison Street, Lonoke, Arkansas. Property owner Thelma and Velma Jean Hurd. Lien holder / mortgagee none. Reason for condemnation. Property is vacant and has fallen into severe disrepair so as to make it unlivable. Property is dilapidated, unsightly, unsafe, unsanitary, obnoxious, or detrimental to the public welfare. See attached photographs, which are incorporated herein by reference.
Any discussion, any questions, any concerns?
Demolition of this particular property would run about between $3,000 and $3,500.
If there's nothing else, we'll take it to a vote. Don't forget to unmute. Let me first take a motion to accept the first reading.
Motion to accept reading, Ryan.
Second.
All right, motion is made by Ryan Biles, seconded by Raymond Hatton. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Ms. Vaughn, the last one.
All right, 315 McKinley. This is just right across. It's on the corner of McKinley and Academy. It's right across the street from the ball stadium. We have been able to get it boarded up. It was up for auction. So let me back up a minute. It's been 11 months since the house burned. There was some suspicion of arson, though insurance has not paid off. As of Tuesday, it has not paid off. We were able to get it boarded up. It has been foreclosed on. There was an auction set, a real estate auction set for the first week in November, for this to be auctioned off. When I checked to see who had purchased it at auction or if it had sold, the auctions have been put off until the first week in January. I don't know if that's because it'd be really nice if we tore it down for them and then they were able to auction off the lot, because they do know we've been working with them, really closely. I've been on them a lot. I'm thinking it's a lot of the auctions have been put off. A lot of the state auctions have been put off. They're looking at the end of next year into 2022 for a lot of the real estate auctions that I've looked at. But anyway, so currently the lien holder, there is a lien holder, which is the mortgage company. It is set for auction January 7th, 2021. Mr. John Phillips is the owner. He has been notified. It has been posted. All legal notices have been posted. We've done everything we can do up to this point, to try to get them to take care of it. And they know that Wilson and Associates is the attorney that the mortgage company is using. I've spoke with them. I've spoke with the mortgage company, and then Mr. Phillips is a little elusive, so that's been hard to find. But anyway, that's where we're at on that.
Right, then I'll take a motion to put 12-3-2020 on the floor.
So moved, Ryan.
Second, Michael.
Okay, we got a motion by Ryan Biles and a seconded by Michael Florence.
Okay. Resolution 12-3-2020, a resolution declaring the property within the city of Lonoke, Arkansas, located at 315 McKinley Street, Lonoke, Arkansas, to be a nuisance and condemning same pursuant to Lonoke City Ordinance number 575. Whereas Arkansas Code annotated 14-56-203 provides that cities of the first class shall have power to order the removal or raising of, or to remove or raise any buildings or houses that, in the opinion of the council, have become dilapidated, unsightly, unsafe, unsanitary, obnoxious, or detrimental to the public welfare. And whereas Arkansas Code annotated 14-56-203 furthermore provides that said cities of first class shall provide by ordinance the manner of or removing and making the above referenced removals. And whereas on or about March 10th, 2008, the City Council for the City of Lonoke, Arkansas enacted and passed ordinance number 575, the effect of which was to provide for the condemnation and removal of houses, buildings, and or structures constituting a nuisance within the corporate limits, providing for lien thereon and providing a penalty therefor. And whereas pursuant to the requirements contained in Lonoke City Ordinance number 575, the Lonoke City Council wishes and desires to pass a resolution declaring certain houses, buildings, and or structures to be a nuisance to the city of Lonoke and its citizens and condemning same. And whereas the properties hereby condemned are affecting the citizens of the city of Lonoke and are in violation of said citizens' rights to lawfully use and enjoy their properties, and furthermore constitute an unreasonable and unwarrantable use of property, producing a material annoyance, inconvenience, and discomfort to all citizens of the city of Lonoke. And now therefore be it resolved that the following described property, together with any existing houses, buildings, and or structures thereon owned by the person set forth below, be and the same is hereby found and declared to be a nuisance by the City Council of the City of Lonoke, Arkansas, for the reasons set forth below, and the same shall be and hereby is condemned to ensure the removal thereof as provided in Lonoke City Ordinance number 585. Property address 315 McKinley Street, Lonoke, Arkansas. Property owner John Phillips, lien holder / mortgagee ARC Home LLC, formerly known as WEI Mortgage LLC. Reason for condemnation: property has burned and is unlivable. Property has not been cleared of the burned materials and is dilapidated, unsightly, unsafe, unsanitary, obnoxious, or detrimental to the public welfare. See attached photographs, which are incorporated herein by reference.
Right then. Any questions?
I got a quote of 6,000 on removal of this this structure and the outbuildings. I believe depending on our budget, I think we can probably even get that done for less. I'm working on that. But I would say between 5,000 and 6,000 to remove that structure.
I do have a question. I know that Ginger said it. Who was the lien hold? I'm sorry, the lien holder on this property. You said ARC.
Yeah, it's listed on the resolution there in the bottom of it if you need to see it written out, but I can read it to you once I get my screen minimized real quick. It's ARC Home comma LC FKA WEI Mortgage, comma LLC.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Anything else? I'll take a motion to accept the first reading.
Motion to accept the first reading.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Miss Alice. Motion by Miss Alice to accept the first reading and seconded by Matt Cordell. Any other questions or concerns before we take it to a vote? All right, don't forget to unmute. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right. This is a slide I put together just to kind of give the council some bearing on where we are, how much money we spent to date. South Center and Harrison were the two that the city had to move on. South Center was 9,000. Harrison cost us 5,000. Both those lots look tremendously better now. And then legal fees and administration at the total almost to $2,000. That puts us just under halfway there. And as Vonda has alluded to, she's working overtime to get everything that we need accomplished with the budget that we have. So she's being very diligent. Vonda put these status of liens in here. Can you speak to these real quick, where we are and what we need to do to make sure that these liens are secured?
Actually, I can probably speak to that easier. Vonda and I met 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half ago, I guess, because there were some things that I was behind on, quite honestly, on getting my liens filed. I mean, it's important to get our liens filed, but I think a lot of importance has been placed on lien filing when you're still not going to get paid for title issues. Liens are only good for 15 months, or you have to foreclose. And if you don't foreclose during that time, then the lien expires. So all of these that have title problems, we're not likely to get paid on them. So while it is important to me to get the liens filed, I haven't, like for instance, there's one more property that I need to file a lien on too, the house on Jefferson Street that we had to mow several times. I want to get it filed, but I didn't want to waste the city's money to file multiple liens for mowing. I'd rather file one lien for all the mowing that was done for 2020 and save a little bit of money on the lien. The other two need to be filed, but again, this is not a situation where this fund will ever be replenished anywhere near in full. The cost of foreclosing these liens is almost always going to be cost prohibitive, but I will get the liens filed, but just know that's not the silver ticket for getting paid.
In terms of, are you recommending that we delay a lien then for either one of these properties?
I mean, you know, at some point you can't file a lien anymore because the statute of limitations is run on being able to file that lien. And I don't have that number offhand on how long you have to file it. You know, it's, if y'all want me to file them, I'll file them, but I'm going to collect a legal fee on it that you're never going to get paid back on. And it's going to be a filing fee to the clerk's office that you're never going to get paid on. I take that back now on the Jefferson Street home. I do want to do that one since it's not yet been foreclosed on. And I think we may have some collection efforts we could use with that mortgage holder. But these other two that were title issues, I mean, if you don't want me to file it, I think from a budget standpoint, that's probably not a bad choice. Or if you do want me to file it, I'll file it.
Mr. Mayor, this is Ryan. I'm just kind of doing some back of the envelope math, and the estimated totals for demolition would come in probably just a hair under the remaining budget. So perhaps, Ginger, you might be willing to hold on that, and we can decide for sure to let, since this is the last month of the year, and then, you know, when we determine how to allocate next year's budget, increase it or whatever we end up doing for this specific item, we could take into consideration the lien filing costs for these properties that we're talking about for this year, plus whatever we allocate for next year. Would that perhaps be a good idea?
I think that's a wise
move. That lets her go ahead and move on demolition now.
Right.
Rather than,
right. I think that's a wise move because I'd rather you spend your money on cleaning things up than a piece of paper that's not collectible. And certainly I can't think of any of these that it's worth filing, that it's ever going to be worth foreclosing on that lien on, just because of significant title issues and lots of people that we'll never be able to locate to get them served in these foreclosures. So I'd rather you spend your money on cleaning than legal fees.
Ginger, I have a question. So if any of these sell at auction, we can't collect any lien fees at all after that auction, whoever buys it at auction from that person?
Let me talk about maybe the Jefferson Street home as the best case scenario, and one of these with title problems as the worst case scenario. In the Jefferson Street home, it's a great home. I hope that currently the owners of that home are in bankruptcy, so there's proceedings you have to go through in the bankruptcy court to be able to get permission to sell that in a foreclosure sale. But that home eventually will sell, and I hope that there's a great buyer that comes in and buys it. The problem with it is if let's say, and I have no idea how much they own it, but let's say the house, let me just make my math easy. Let's say the house is worth $150,000 and, or was worth $150,000 at the time they purchased it. And they have a lien on it, a mortgage lien for $150,000. And let's say they've currently paid it down to $140,000. If we have a cleanup lien on it of maybe $1,500 for 3 different mowings, that may not be a bad one to go ahead and get filed, because we will be a second lien holder to that mortgage, which will be the first lien position. But there's at least a chance that there's some equity in there that we would get paid off on it. So that's one of the reasons why I think that one is one that I think is worth getting a lien filed on it, because there is hopefully some equity in that home to be able to satisfy both the primary mortgage on it and potentially any lien that we have on it for cleanup. So that's the best case scenario, because we know who the owners are. We don't have to do some crazy genealogy searches and all that. We know who the lien holders are. And actually somebody else is doing that work for us, because the original lender will be doing that research on getting everybody served on that. So once we get our lien filed, we'll actually get named in that foreclosure lawsuit too. And then we'll be listed as a secondary claim holder to that, to get paid if there's equity after paying that first mortgage. But that's a big if too, because foreclosure attorneys have a knack for eating up any equity and fees and whatnot too. But that one's at least our best case scenario. One of the worst case scenarios would be something like that Hurd property. I think it was the Harrison property that we had today. The value of the property is very low. Let's just say it's worth, I don't know, let's say it's worth $5,000. But if it goes up for a tax sale and somebody pays, $200 or $300 tax bill on it, then they will be able to wipe out our lien on that. They, meaning the land commissioner, will be able to wipe out our lien and transfer title to that property to whoever that person is who buys it at the at the tax lien sale. So, if by some crazy reason there was a bidding war on that property where somebody bid more than what the taxes were that were owed on it, then just like in a foreclosure sale, we might have some equity that would come to us at that point, but that's not likely to happen. People who come to tax sales know how much tax is owed on it. They know what the minimum bid is, and that's what they bid. If it's for some reason property that somebody wants, then you could have people bidding against each other to raise the price higher than the amount of the tax that's owed. But a lot of times people just go there to pay $200-$300 for a whole property, and because of that, there would be no equity to flow down to us after the taxes are paid to the state on it. And again, they've got fees and all that get attached to that go to the land commissioner and back to the tax collector in Lonoke County and different things like that. So even your $500 tax bill, it'll, maybe $1,500 before it pays off everybody who's entitled to some part of that with the state. So that's our worst case scenario. So in that situation, if I don't even know who all the heirs are, I wouldn't even say we touch it, because it's going to cost more to foreclose our lien on it than we would ever recover in a sale if we somehow were able to receive title to the property after foreclosing our lien. So that's why we really have to look at these individually, and that's why honestly they haven't moved much over the years, because when you make the business decision of do we spend all this money of the city that we know we're not going to get back, then that's a tough call, because it's not an unlimited source of funds.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys. Lastly, we're going to talk about, typically I have 3 properties for you guys for the next quarter for us to discuss. Because of the situation with just hiring, getting Jeremy in the seat, Vaughn and I decided it'd be best to hold off and let her transfer some prior knowledge to Jeremy, and the 2 of them can sit down, fabricate the next 3 properties that we're going to tackle in the next quarter of condemnation, and then we will present those at the most likely going to be the January City Council meeting. I'll just present those for your knowledge, and then we will meet again, I believe, in March for those 3 properties. Okay. I believe that's all I had tonight. That's the last slide. Are there any announcements before we adjourn?
I have just a question about the status of the COVID virus in Lonoke. Do we have any information about how many cases there are within the city or anything like that?
No, I don't have a number to give you in terms of cases in the city. I haven't heard from the county emergency management office since probably April or May.
Oh,
Um, I don't get any type of inside information that you guys don't have access to. Now I can call him and see if he's got anything that we might be privy to, but other than that, they stopped kind of keeping track at a micro level a long
Mhm.
time ago.
okay. I was just curious. I'd heard somebody tell me that there were a number of cases, people that are infected right now, and I was just curious how widespread it was. But
Yeah, I don't think that there's a website. I don't think the Department of Health has a website where you can go look and see what the cases are. That's sensitive information. I don't know that, if any one of us caught it, we'd want our information on the website. So I don't think you can really track it that way. I've just been keeping up personally with the state numbers. I know we had 2,700 new cases today. This is that post-Thanksgiving spike that everybody's anticipating. I can tell you the city administration, we were meeting for staff meetings on Tuesdays. 2 weeks ago, we stopped that. We're even having Zoom meetings now just for every Tuesday morning. And we have, we've, I'll say, made it very clear that if you're working for the city and you're within 6 feet of another person, that you have to have your mask on. So we've gotten pretty serious here because I want to keep our staff employed. Primarily, I want to keep everybody healthy. But if they have to go home for 14 days, that can really hurt some of our guys, and I really want to keep them healthy and safe. And so, are there any other announcements? Any other comments?
Mayor, I'd like to thank Vonda for all the work that she's doing on this condemnation, and to Ginger. I know that's a lot of work and is just takes so much time to finalize anything. But thank you, Vonda and Ginger, for all the work that both of you have done in the city administration. And on another note, want to say how good the Christmas decorations are looking downtown in the city. I don't know if they have finalized those or not yet, but they're looking really good and really festive downtown.
I'll pass that on to Roy Don. He and his guys did a good job in the last week. So if you see him, just shoot him a text, tell him thank you. So yeah, they did a good job with that, and currently working on a Christmas tree plan. So don't give up hope just yet. We're trying to help with the Wade Knox Child Advocacy Center to get the tree stood up like we did last year. I think it was a big hit. So there's a plan in motion, and hopefully we'll have something in the pocket by Monday. So guys, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you all for meeting. Hope you guys have a safe and happy next 2 weeks, and we'll see you at council on the 14th, right?
Just one more thing here. Any praise heaped on me, it completely belongs on Vonda. She is so organized with this. She has done such an amazing job on this. She's so sharp on title issues. She comes to me talking about the title issue. It's not me giving legal opinion. She's a real asset to the city, and I'm really happy to get to work with her on this.
Thank you, Ginger. Thank you too,
Thank you.
Suzette.
You guys have a good evening.
Do we need to adjourn?
Well, I'm gonna
Thank you.
say, are there any objections to adjournment? Thank you for the plug. No objections? All right.
No.